So how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
Really great. Thank you again for this. I feel like this is going to be something very meaningful, something very special, and super valuable to all of our community members. Just to give a little bit of a background of Arash. Arash is an incredible individual, an incredible entrepreneur, and one of the foremost performance coaches and experts really out there. And so you will receive a lot of value from his ideas, his frameworks, and his thoughts and ideologies today. So Arash, I just want to tell you again, thank you for this, and happy to get started today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in this space, really coaching individuals and getting people's mind frame to where it needs to be for high performance.
I mean, really, it was when I was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like most people, I felt there was more.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get it.
Yeah.
I saw people, this is well before social media blew up. This is, like, I've been doing this work for over 20 years now.
Wow.
But I was in the corporate world. I brought myself from the bottom of my company to vice president of sales, but I didn't like what I was doing. I mean, I was doing outside sales, driving 300 miles a day, and I started thinking, there's got to be something more. Mm-hmm. So then one day, there was this PBS special, and I don't know how I got to it because I've never watched PBS in my life.
Wow.
And Wayne Dyer was on there, and there's this program called The Power of Intention. And I remember thinking, I think I could do that. Mm-hmm. So then the ideas just started coming, and then I hired a mentor who, at the time, I didn't know where this was going, who, in my opinion, is the dean of personal development. He'd been, by the time he passed away, he'd been doing this work for well over 58 years. But I just did exactly what he told me to do. So I always say you have to be a great follower before you can be a great leader. So my life started changing so dramatically. Within 30 days, as my life started changing, it sounds so ridiculous, but that's when I committed and I said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing this. Mm-hmm. Now, I used to be a great starter and a terrible finisher, so I don't think I believed it, but I've never stopped picking people's minds. Like, I love learning people's models. And the one thing that I know, and I discovered it because if I can do it, anybody can do it, that every one of us can have it all, not just the money. I think money is, people make such a god of money, but it's always about us. As we chase our greatness, the money starts coming. Then it's about health. Like, health is a much bigger priority, or should be, than money. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just have never stopped doing it. And I am forever thinking, like, how can I help somebody break free?
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to break free.
That's right.
You know, Larry, think about this. Have you ever met anybody who didn't want freedom?
That's the biggest thing we're after, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Everybody wants freedom. What I discovered in my journey of going from stuck to freedom, I realized freedom, financial freedom, is created by emotional freedom. Mm-hmm. So until we're emotionally free, we don't do big things.
Yeah.
So that's what I became obsessed with, and then that's what I'm helping everyone around the world do.
Yeah. So why don't you tell me a bit about meeting this mentor and a little bit about the background of this mentor?
Yeah, so my mentor, Bob Proctor, has had the greatest impact in my life. I've never had I don't think I'll ever have anybody again. Sometimes you get touched by God on the shoulder. Yeah. That's how I feel. So the first conversation we had a mutual acquaintance. Mm-hmm. And the first conversation we had, and he said, what is it that you want? And I said, I'm not really sure. I want freedom. And he's like, so you do know what you want? And I said, is that a goal? He said, it's a great goal. And he said, are you willing to do exactly what I tell you? I said, no, I've never done exactly what anyone's told me. Like, I was very honest with him. Mm-hmm. And I told him kind of what I said earlier. I said, I was a great starter and a terrible finisher. Mm-hmm. And he said, that's because you haven't gone the right direction. So mentorship is so prevalent now, but back over 20 years ago, it was hard to find.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that's what this conversation was about.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you'll do exactly what I tell you, I'll take you places you've never gone.
Wow.
And I remember telling him, will this work? That's where my mind was.
Yeah.
Because I had tried different things for 3 years like most people.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I don't care if it costs you $1 million to get to me, it's going to be worth it. Like, I had never had anybody talk to me like this. So there was a connection. I didn't even know how much this was going to cost.
Yeah.
But I told him yes. And then I had to find out where the money was going to come from.
Yeah.
You know, but we talked about it for years. I still don't know why I did exactly what he told me, because I'd never done it before. But the way I framed it in my mind, like everything in my mind is a framework. I made it into a game. I grew up playing sports. I love sports. So I made it up like a sport. And I said, for 1 year, I'm going to do exactly what he tells me and just test it.
Yeah.
I was in a ton of debt at the time, but I thought, $150,000 in credit card debt. What's the difference? 150, 180.
Right.
Like, what's the difference? And him and I ended up working together, not just being mentored. Then he asked me to partner up with him. For 15 years, we were tied at the hip. And then when he passed on, it was my time. I always say, if he was still here, I would have never went out on my own, because I was never going to let him do this by himself.
Yeah.
You know, of all the deposits he put into me. But he taught me, it sounds weird, but he taught me how to serve people.
Yeah.
We have to learn that. He taught me how to win. Winning is a habit. You have to learn how to win. Everybody thinks, oh, I just want to win. But you have to pay the price. So he taught me that. He taught me how to use my mind, how important our mind is. And there's so many lessons he taught me that everybody who works with me gets the benefit of it, because I'm teaching everybody the stories that I learned that his mentors taught him. So it's like now the lineage is hundreds of years of what's coming out. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But like everything, the only reason I could tell these stories is because I implemented them. Like if I didn't implement them, I wouldn't even be thinking about it. So to me, we have to be relentless at execution.
Yes.
Of following direction, but we've got to work with a really big idea.
Yeah.
If we're working with a small idea, we're not going to do big things.
Yeah.
And there's nobody, like everybody in your community, there's not one person, I don't care if they're as stuck as I was, within 6 months that cannot absolutely transform and change their life.
Yeah, definitely. You know, speaking of that, like with the clients that you tend to work with and bring the furthest, and that are really seeing the most success, what do you feel in the early stages is the thing that is kind of slowing them down the most, that's blocking them the most, wherein you need to get them unstuck? Like, what is it?
It's their past. We're all addicted to our past. We're our hardest critic. So the first thing I have to do is get a commitment from them.
Commitment.
That's it. Like nothing happens, but I get a commitment from them that they're ready to change their life. And I tell them, leave it to me. But your job is just to follow my direction. And I said, I want to bury your past. I want to kill your past. And I want everything based on your future, but everything to me starts and ends with our standards.
Yeah.
Our standards are who we are. Goals are what we want. So whenever you're working with a client, for me, I have to find out what they want. We have to turn it into a goal. Once we have it in a goal, now I've got to tell them, the only thing you have to do is go all in. And that means not 90%, not 95%. You've got to go 100% all in. But I always tell them this, and it's a good image for them. I said, you're going to spend the time anyway. You might as well be great.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So, and then we build their standards up. We build their standards. Like when they're working with you, just your belief in what you do, or my belief in what I do with my clients, automatically within a second changes their standard. You know, like when you have a great mentor, just like I did, they are so good at getting you to believe in their belief. So it frees people up.
Yeah.
Every single person can do so much more than they give themselves credit for. But it's all about daily personal transformation is what's going to create the freedom they desire.
Yeah, you know what? I've often said that I'm actually, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm writing right now, and I'm writing a book. And one of the chapters I speak heavily around borrowing the belief. Like if we don't have the belief yet, borrow it from the people that we admire, the mentors, the people that we look up to, the people that we see that these people hold the character traits that we would like to embody at some point in our future. Just borrow their belief, you know?
That's what I did. First of all, we don't have a belief. That's why we go to a mentor anyway.
Yeah.
Like if we already knew how to do it, we'd do it. If we knew how to think in a certain way, we'd already be doing it. So there's nothing more accurate than that. People have to borrow other people's belief. They've already done it. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
You know, so like, let's say I was at a different place in my life and I was working with you. How I changed my life was this one thought pattern was, if Larry can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, but how did Larry do it? I've got to find out.
Yeah.
You know, and I just got to study him closely and do exactly what he tells me. And I promise you, if I did that, then I would get Larry's results.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I've been thinking about that I wanted to talk to you about is habit adaptation, right? Because a lot of, you know, put it like this, taking action, right? That's downstream from getting the result, right? And so to be able to take action once, that's an anomaly.
Right.
But to do it consistently over time, that's true commitment, and that requires true like habit adaptation. So when you look at something like that, what do you see as maybe the big catalyst to be able to get people to really embody these new habits that they're performing with consistency on a daily basis?
Well, you're never going to change a habit unless you have a big enough reason why to change the habit.
Yeah.
So we have to ask ourselves, why do I want to change this habit? I want to get in the best shape of my life, or I want to create X, right? So when the why is big enough, the habit's easy to install, but every day has to be day one. So when you're installing a habit, the research tells us it takes 66 days to change a habit. I've changed habits faster. I think it is so much easier to behave our way into a new habit than it is to think our way into a new habit. Like I remember I had this image of myself that I was the most undisciplined person. I told you that in different words. I said I was a great starter and a terrible finisher. Well, discipline is the prequel to freedom. So how do we create discipline? It's every day is day one. Just for today, I'm going to operate from X habit, whatever the habit is.
Yeah.
And that's how you create a habit. So the first 21 days is the installation of the habit. Okay. You activate the habit. Then the messy middle is the next 20 days.
Yes.
So everyone's doing it. They're like, oh my God, I'm losing weight. I'm doing this. And then, oh, I could go eat differently, right? No, you got to stick to that messy middle. And then the last 21, it's going to be what you build as the actual habit, where it's harder not to do than to do. So let's think about it different. I call it a pinnacle habit. There's one habit that will bring all our habits up. Okay, now, if you were guaranteed to achieve that goal, but for the next 66 days, you had to commit, would you do it? That's the question we have to ask. But every day is day one, just for today. You're going to simplify it and make it easy, because all of us can do something for a day. Like if I say 66 days, it's a little overwhelming. I don't trust myself, right? But that's what we want to start talking to ourselves. We want to be every day recommit. Today is day one.
I love that mindset around like how you said with the 66 days, but it's almost like future pacing yourself a little bit. Like telling yourself internally and psychologically, like, look, this is guaranteed to be embedded. All I need to do is just get through these 60 days, and you can only do one day at a time. Just focus on one day at a time. It's
only one day. When we are going after a commitment for the next 90 days, I'm going to do X, that's hard. That's hard for us to accept, because our identity is holding us back. And when you're changing, you've got to be aware of this. You're going to have a tug-of-war between your old self, your old identity, and your future self. But we have to future pace. Why future pacing is so important is because we have to fall in love with the future. That's why we're going to change a habit.
Yeah.
So if we're not in love with the future, we're not going to change the habit. We've got to be relentlessly obsessed and create this habit or this goal is a love story. When we fell in love for the first time or anything we're in love with, it's always on our mind. We wake up, we don't have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like think about your business. When the business idea came to you, right? It was like a love story. You're constantly thinking, how can I help people in this way? How can I deconstruct what I do so I can do it? That's what we have to do with our habits.
Yeah. Yeah, the beginning stages of the honeymoon phase. You know, there's something else that I wanted to touch on. And so we talked about habits. Now, the inverse of the habits, right, or the antithesis to those habits are those self-sabotaging things that we do, right? That it's like the resistance creeps in.
Yeah.
The trigger moment, the stimulus, right? What do we see as kind of the, as you say, pinnacle strategies for which to preempt, right? Those self-sabotaging habits that we have.
First, we got to identify them, because those self-sabotaging habits are our hidden commitments, right? But if we don't know what they are, they're going to keep blocking us from the good we desire. That's why so many people are working so hard and getting no results. We want to collapse time. So how you collapse time is with your mindset. 95% of success is mindset, 5% is strategy. So in my opinion, like I've tested this over and over, triggers are there to warn us, but we got to be aware of what they are. Resistance is not there to stop us. Resistance is toughening us up. So whenever we're resistant to a thing, we've got to do that thing right away. As soon as we feel that resistance, like today, you and I are going to have 100 different resistances.
Yeah.
So how we win that battle of our mind is so powerful, but it's not our friend. If it was our friend, it would say, hey, don't do this. That's not how it works. Whatever we think about, our mind goes in that direction. Now, our mind can be our greatest ally when we create a significant mindset and a significant identity. So every time you have a trigger, just try this for today. Okay. For everyone watching this, try this until you think I'm crazy. When you have a trigger, do it right away. Watch what's going to happen. First of all, you're getting out of your comfort zone, so you're crushing your old self and you're walking into the new identity. And the repetition of doing that for a week is going to change who you are. You're going to be so proud of yourself, but you're going to break it.
Yeah. You know, and this brings me to one of the ideas that you touched upon yesterday when you presented to everyone in the audience. And you mentioned something that I hadn't heard up to the point. And that was this whole idea around having an anchor. Yeah. Like in those moments where it's like you got the angel on one shoulder and the devil on one shoulder telling you, you don't need to do that. I'll take the day off. Hit the snooze button. You mentioned having an anchor. Maybe talk a little bit around this idea of having an anchor.
Yeah, so when the trigger comes up, we want to have a weapon. We want to have tools around our tool belt for whenever we need something. We may not always need it, but when the trigger comes up, let's say I'm about to procrastinate. Yeah. The anchor for me is snapping my finger. Wow. Okay, if I snap my finger, I'm telling my subconscious mind, go back to the new program. So let's say I start procrastinating. No, I'm not going to procrastinate because procrastination is death of opportunity. This is what I would be talking to myself, right? But the minute I snap my finger, it's telling my mind the opposite. Yeah. Okay, so we have to find out what our sabotaging behavior is so we know what to do with the anchor. So like using my example of procrastinating. So the anchor I've already trained my subconscious, I do everything right away. You know, but the snap of the finger is a cue to your subconscious mind, keep running the new program, not the old program.
Yeah. And it's like, now that you say that, as I'm thinking about this, it's like, let's say if it's some type of, as we said, self-sabotaging habit, before you do the habit or the lack thereof of doing the thing that you need to do, whether it's, you know, eating the healthy food or going to the gym to get some exercise in or waking up at the time that we need to wake up, before we decide to do the opposite of what we know we should do, something happens. Something creeps into our mind.
Yep.
An idea creeps into our mind, and we start to kind of negotiate with ourselves. So is it like in that moment when you start that internal negotiation in your mind, it's like you're snapping your finger?
Yeah, you're snapping your finger. The worst thing we do as humans is we're always renegotiating. We're accepting a lesser idea.
Yeah.
You know, so what we want to do is understand what those triggers are. They're our old self. They're our old story. Our story is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our story creates our identity creates our results. The way your subconscious mind works, everyone's, it speaks to us in stories. So it'll say, remember, why are you doing this? Remember you tried this diet before?
Yeah.
You know, instead, you want to build it into your identity. I'm the type of person who only eats healthy foods. I'm the type of person who trains in a certain way. And as you do that over time, because we become what we repeatedly do, you're going to change that. And it's going to, at one point, it's going to be harder. You're going to get to a point where it's harder not to do than to do. Like getting in the best shape of your life is a habit.
Yeah.
Earning money is a habit. Having a great attitude is a habit. So our habit is what our identity is.
Yeah. You know, this brought me to another idea, and, you know, we can start to begin to wrap this thing up, but I think it's a very important idea to touch on, right? So when we have a goal that we're moving towards, a big vision, what have you, whether it be something in our professional lives, in our relationship lives, in the lives of our health, right? A health goal or what have you. Talk a little bit about how we approach achieving the success and what to do after, such that we don't rebound and revert right back to where we started. You know what I mean? How do we keep that continual progress, momentum, expansion, so that we're able to hold on to our wins and continue, you know, improving?
So first off, the goal, as soon as we set it,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go deeper in this for you. As soon as we set the goal, it is done.
Yeah.
You can't work towards the goal, you work from it. What are the standards of the person who's already achieved that goal?
Yeah.
So you build those standards in. What are the couple disciplines? You build those disciplines. And what are the 3 actions that that person does? Because everybody, in my opinion, like I'm pretty bold about this, is I think everyone should create a quantum leap every 90 days. Because all you have to do is build a few standards, a few disciplines, and 3 wins every day from the goal. If you do it 5 days a week, that's 15 wins a week. You do it over 12 weeks, 194 and a half wins. Who's not going to create a quantum leap?
Wow.
But now the next phase, it's like, I always tell people, earning money is not your challenge. It's easy to earn money. But you've got to be smart to keep the money. So you got to set a next goal. You've got to set the next health goal. So maybe somebody comes to you, they're like, I want at first to get in the best shape of my life, or I want to release some weight, okay? Well, now their next goal has got to be a body fat percentage, or it's personal best.
Yeah.
So you keep setting different and different goals, because really, health is so important, because we could have all the money in the world, but if we're on our deathbed, what does it matter?
That's right.
So that's why I said it's at the top of the list of the most important riches. So, but in order to do any of this, it really demands truth and honesty. You've got to be the most honest person with yourself. Most people are bearing it. Oh, I don't need that. Oh, Larry doesn't know, or Arash doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Well, they could do it, but I can't. It's not true.
Yeah.
So we have to start with a big idea that I'm going to change my life. That's where it starts. No one gets in great shape without deciding to change their life.
Yeah.
No one earns a lot of money until they decide to earn a lot of money. No one serves at a high level if they're not in love with their mission.
Yeah.
So that's how we continually upgrade goals. I remember I was working with a client. He came to me to get this award from Inc. 500. So he got the award, and I told him before he got the award, I knew he was going to get the award. And I said, be careful, because you better be setting a goal right away, the next goal. He didn't do it. Then he came to me and goes, I'm stuck. I said, I told you, you're going to be stuck.
Wow.
See, we're goal-seeking organisms. goals are what we strive for, but once again, standards are who we are. Your standards are more important. We want to have a standard of constantly setting the next goal, because our soul is for truth and it's for growth and expansion. We're not here for a thing. We're here for the journey.
Yeah.
And why people don't change their life, and that's why 98% of people struggle, because they're not committed to the journey.
Yeah.
They're committed to a thing, the shining object.
Yeah. You know, I think that that's so powerful. What you said is like with your client that had the Inc. 500 win, it's like having the next thing ready. And I noticed with me, like throughout my journey, like up to now in the life of my health, for instance, I've always done the best when I've been working toward a target. And I had a system and a program that I was working within, and I was moving toward a target. You know what I mean? When it's just like, you're just taking it as it comes, then you start to notice, you know, little chinks in the armor over time. And then in my professional life, how does that then manifest? It's like all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you're feeling this overwhelm and this burnout. And I feel like that's something that is happening so much with business owners and entrepreneurs and, you know, high performers, is they're burning the wick at both ends. And then they're getting to this point where they wake up one morning and they just feel like they've hit a wall, you know?
You know, it happens all the time. I was thinking about you and your career, right? I was just listening to an interview with Troy Aikman.
Okay.
And he was getting interviewed by a former player of his, Michael Irvin. And they're both in great shape. They're both focused on health. Well, the question came up, why are so many ex-NFL players, and you probably know this, who don't take care of themselves after their career's over? And he said something interesting that I could relate to. He said, for me, I have to keep competing with myself. You know, so like you're in great shape. You're doing the opposite of what I'm saying. But once you leave, life isn't over. So once we hit a goal, it's not over. It's like the next goal. So I'm always teaching people, I want you to compete upwards. You don't compete against anyone but who you were yesterday, because when you get in the habit of doing that, you're going to be introduced to a completely different person than you've never met. You know, and that's what we're talking about here. So there's people who come to you, I'm sure of it. I hope this works. You know, it will work 100% of the time if they follow your direction. So if anyone watching this, just do exactly what this man is telling you to do. I mean, you're a billboard for this, you know, because I always say, whenever you invest in somebody, you've got to invest in the people who already perform the results that you want to create.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, Arash, tell me this, where can people find you, find more of your ideas, your information? I think it'll be truly transformational for them.
Sure. You could go to my website, vosscoachingco.com. We have a ton of resources.
Amazing.
Follow me on Instagram, Vasugiye. My YouTube, I give a ton of free content. It's just my name. And then we have a podcast that you will love. It's called The 7-Figure Standard.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, awesome, Larry. Thank you.
I appreciate this so much.
My pleasure.